Welcome back to Tremor Trails. Today we are out in California, Southern California to be exact, and we're going to start a video series about a trail that me and the wife have always wanted to do, the Eastern Mojave Heritage Trail. This is a 4-section trail that covers over 500 miles of nothing but the Mojave Desert. It's such a large, vast trail that we're going to break it up into 2-part series per each section. This trail was originally invented in the 1980s by a man named Dennis Spear. I hope I'm saying his last name right. And he wrote books about how to navigate this trail. Through the years, we've lost a little bit of that land, but not a lot. We lost about 75 miles of the total trail, but you can still follow the trail that he came up with. This trail deals with super technical sections, easy sections, loose sand, up into the mountains, down into canyons. It's vast and it's fun. So please enjoy as we take off into this video series on the Eastern Mojave Heritage Trail. Not to be confused with the Mojave Trail, which is another trail that goes just for 200 miles. This one is going to take you 9 to 12 days to get done all the way. So since it's such a large, vast trail, we're just going to break it up into days and try and show you as much of the highlights and what to expect out here on the trails. So let's go, day one. East Mojave Heritage Trail, Section 1, located in the Mojave Desert, which is in California and Nevada. The first section for day one, we did 48 miles and it took us 7 hours from beginning to end. Just think desert, and that's what you're going to experience today. We have washes, we have loose sand, we have hard sand, we have rock gardens that you got to navigate, you have tight canyons you got to get through, tight trails. Pinstriping is going to be everywhere. You also have some easy dirt sections, and you have to get over some small mountains at the middle of Section 1. Modes I use are 4 high mud and ruts with lockers. The highlights are going to be the Goff Schoolhouse, which is off of Route 66, and the Leiser mine where we end up at the end of the day. Please remember that our cameras have stabilizers on them, the hills are not going to appear steep, and the bumps are not going to be as rough. Now let's go. About the EMHT. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, Dennis Spear wrote some books and guides of how to navigate this whole section of the preserve in Southern California and Nevada. Unfortunately, when the preserve actually came into effect, we lost a lot of the trails, which really made his books obsolete and you couldn't use them anymore. So Billy Creech and some friends decided to come back out and remap the whole trail with the land that we lost to make sure that we could route all the way through it, and they did a great job with it. So now, once again, we can do the 660 miles of nothing but forgotten, lost trail all through the preserve and through the desert. This is a really tough trail. It is going to test you mentally and physically and your vehicle. It's recommended not to do it solo, but it's a challenge, and me and my wife wanted to try and do it solo. But as you can see, it's real easy to get lost out here. All right, first snafu. That's why it's so important to make sure that when you're doing this trail, you have your maps downloaded and ready to go offline. So what we found out is we went down this wash here, and that's not the trail. We actually missed it. It's over to the left. So we're gonna get back on the trail, but I just wanna give you a heads up. Make sure you download your maps and keep close attention to this trail, because it's real easy to get lost in these washes, because a lot of the trail in the first segment is washes. Now, back up on the trail, let's go. I think Billy describes this trail the best, and so I'm going to read what he wrote. It's not a straightforward A to B route like the Mojave Road, but instead meanders through the region, coiling back on itself like a mad-as-hell Mojave green rattlesnake, and it can be just as deadly. The EMHT traverses every type of desert terrain offered. Hard-packed dirt, soft sand, granite, and lava rock, while slithering through massive sand dune areas, sprawling dry lake beds, twisting mountain passes, jagged lava and cinder fields, dry washes, expansive Joshua tree forests, and a vast swath of open desert with jaw-dropping vistas. To paraphrase Quint in the movie Jaws, if you go after the EMHT, you're gonna get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing. Quite a treat for us car guys. As you drop out of the mountains, you get to drive on the historic and original Route 66 right here for about 3.5 miles as you go into the ghost town of Goff. We're heading over to the Goff Schoolhouse Museum, where they have tons of artifacts all around mining and cars, drilling, Indians. There's all kinds of stuff to learn at this little exhibit. It was closed, but Greg was nice enough to meet us outside and let us come inside and see what it was all about. So we're going to jump inside the schoolhouse and learn a little bit of history about this whole section. This is one of the stops that you want to make sure you do on Section 1.
My name is Greg, and my wife and I, my wife's name is Gloria, and we are retired educators. We decided to spend this winter here. Kind of a long story how we learned of this place. They were looking for docents here at this cultural center and museum, and so we threw them our resume, and they were fortunate to select us. We came here December 1, and we'll be here till the end of April as docents for this museum and site. And we like the isolation, we like new experiences, we like being out away from things and sort of more isolated. And we like going on the off-roads and going out in the desert and going to different cultural centers and learning different things and having different experience. The Mojave Trail, as I understand it, was used by the Native Americans. So this is tied in quite a bit to the Mojave Trail, and it's used quite a bit by the Native Americans, and they had really sort of a trade travel route through there that they built along a series of springs for water to get through the desert. In the 1700s, they actually guided some of the Spaniards through here. And then later, United States started building forts along there. The whole area is very popular with four-wheel drivers and people with the rigs kind of like you guys have set up. This is the Mojave Preserve, and there's a wilderness area in it. And there's all kinds of, I'm learning more and more different organizations that are affiliated with that. People from the Bureau of Land Management and other federal agencies, as well as other special interest groups, a representative from each one. And some of them are kind of rockhound people. Some of them are just, they want the trails open for use. Others are kind of the more protected, let's protect it. And there's the wildlife segment of it, particularly the bighorn sheep. Anyway, that Mojave Trail is a big part of what this place is also affiliated with.
So one of the main highlights on the first section of the trail is going to be the old Goff Schoolhouse. Here they have a whole museum with old artifacts from cars down to old mining equipment. There's an old school bus, and of course you can go inside the schoolhouse, get yourself some maps of the area. This is one of the places that you want to definitely check out. They even now have charging stations for Teslas, so I guess times are changing. For us, we're going to get back up on the trail and go find us a camp spot because it's starting to get dark, so let's go. All right, she does exist. This is Julie, this is my wife. You've probably only seen her in quick shots running around the truck. So, section 1, day 1, what are our thoughts? The first section of this whole trail is known to be very bumpy, rocky, and tight. And there's not a whole lot of things to see as far as highlights on this section, and that still holds true today. Really, today was getting onto the trail, getting out past Needles, California, and then getting down into the washes. I would say 90% of the day was nothing but washes. Washes and pretty intense rock crawls in certain spots because of the washes being so washed out in sections. I was told to divorce my paint if I wanted to do this trail, and that still holds true. On this trail, you're going to get tons of pinstriping. It gets tight in lots of spots. There's lots of thorny bushes everywhere. After the 20-mile mark, you're just like, screw it, and you're just driving. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about doing this trail and you don't mind some pinstripes, go for it. If you're really scared of your paint, maybe this one isn't for you. But you're missing out because the scenery out here is jaw-dropping. You're literally out in the middle of the desert all alone. For probably 3 or 4 hours, we didn't see one thing of civilization, whether it was a telephone pole or a highline pole, a person, nothing. And then we finally connected back up to that highway and got on that highline run for a minute, and then we climbed up that mountaintop, and that was a little sketchy. You're going to have lockers turned on if you do that mountaintop. If you don't have lockers, I wouldn't recommend going up that mountain. I was going to try and film it, but I was so nervous that I just turned on the GoPro and shot up it. It was pretty steep. But after that, you climb back down off that mountain and you go into the ghost town of Goff. You go over to the Schoolhouse Museum, which was somewhere around 1915, 1914. Anyways, they have a really cool exhibit there. They have tons of old mining equipment. They have old cars. That is you actually drive in on the trail of the old Route 66 to get to it, which is just kind of cool. After the Schoolhouse, you immediately jump back onto the dirt and you drive for, I don't know, 10 miles or so, and you get to Leiser Mine, which is where we are now camping. There's only a few spots on Section 1 to really camp. I mean, you could camp anywhere because it's BLM, but unless you're out on the trail seeing it, it's so grown up all around you, there's just nowhere to pull off. So remember that if you're going to be doing Section 1 like we're doing, going from the beginning to the end of this trail. This is a good spot, and there's a couple other spots further up the trail. As far as highlights go, it's really just the old schoolhouse and really here where we are right now. The rest of the trail down in the washes, lots of rock crawls, lots of ditches, all kinds of just different obstacles. It was pretty intense today, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what he was thinking when he built this trail out originally. I couldn't imagine navigating it without maps. I mean, we had to stop several times and turn to the left or turn to the right, thinking that we were in the right wash, and we weren't. So make sure that you have your offline maps obviously downloaded on your phone and ready to go. Thank you so much for watching this. We're going to wake up tomorrow. We're going to continue on the journey with part 2, where we're going to get to some more fun highlights for you guys and show you more of the trail. Until then, we hope to see you guys out here on the trail.